No, no red light. Oh, there's a red light. Oh, it's red like my shirt.
It's not just red like in the shirt or in the background. Uh-oh, my elbow almost broke the table. I got a table right. But it has to be a Wednesday, and everybody knows that on Wednesdays, the Wrestling Realm Now podcast is brought to you. No, it's fine, brother guy. I'm addressing brother guy because he's just saw the text message, but it is okay because we we're almost set up for what you would consider a semi wrestling holiday. The title of this episode of the Wrestling Rundown podcast is The Great American Wrestling Weekend because we have a completely action packed, lots of pro wrestling coming up this weekend. We have NXT Great American Bash, we have Saturday night's main event, we have WWE Evolution, and we have AEW All In. And I am curious to see what the brothers think. Which show will steal the weekend? Now, we are fresh off the 4th of July and we are on our way to SummerSlam. But this is a wonderful pit stop for all those wrestling fans that can't get enough of this business that we seem to be overly obsessed with. So, if you're wrestling fans just like us, come on, grab your popcorn, get yourself nice and cozy because you're in for one of those conversations. And I got some things to say about yesterday's episode of Championship Culture. So, all that and more, let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
That's my cue. Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. I am in the building tonight, and he is your host, Brother Hugh. Super producer has the third A to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D is not in the building. He's getting some much needed rest and relaxation, and he is your host, the creator, the founder, the curator of everything championship belt related. The Belt King himself, Brandon the Guy is truly in the building, and he is your host. Oh yes, the man, the myth, the legend. He might be a little bit fired up tonight, and he is still a heel. And trust me, after tonight's show, he might be an even bigger heel. Hollywood. Brian H. Waters in the building.
Because your nephew just knocked out something out the freezer.
Uh-oh.
And acting like I ain't recording. He over there playing video games on the phone with his friends all loud in the background. Y'all know how I get when the audio get wrong.
Oh boy. Shout out to my nephew. Leave him alone. I'm vouching for him tonight and tonight only, because I know how you are about the audio stuff. Don't let them bring out an extra version of Brian H. Waters.
I'm gonna just take one of his projects and I'm gonna just go there.
Definitely remix this stuff. But welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. And this is the Great American Wrestling Weekend, good brothers. We've had one of these weekends before, and another one has come. And I'm extremely excited to have this conversation because it is 4 wrestling shows that we have to address, talk about. Now, don't get me wrong. We do not have enough time in the world to literally break down each and every card of all the pro wrestling shows that will partake or take place this weekend. But we will talk about the shows in whole, and we will talk about some of our favorite matches that we may be looking forward to, and some predictions about what show might actually steal the weekend. Now, we're already up for good debates, and trust me, the fans have already been chiming in on the Twitter, the X, the Facebook, and the Instagram about, hey, which show is going to be better based off what it looks like, but you may be surprised at what might actually steal the weekend. But before we get into all that, you know how we get down. The Wrestling Room has expanded, and the content is always coming forth. So That's where championship culture steps in and save the day. Is because not do we only have a show on Wednesday, we have a show on Tuesday at 8 p.m. curated by Brandon the Guy and super producer has the third, known as Championship Culture, where they break down everything championship culture related. Now, of course, everybody knows I can't always be there on Tuesdays, but we always do a quick follow-up on a Wednesday when we record this to discuss on what championship culture was this week. Now, we're all the way into season 4. And if you have not seen season 4 or season 3 or season 2 or season 1 as a wrestling fan, especially if you love belts, you're doing yourself a very positive disservice. And yes, I know positive and disservice don't necessarily belong in the same sentence, but I'm trying to get you to understand the importance of what championship culture is all about. So without further ado, let's get into it. You know the sound, so prepare your ears as the Eagles fly. Indeed, every belt does have a story. And every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on YouTube.com.
Am I frozen or is realness frozen?
You frozen.
Is it me?
I hear
yeah, I think you're fine. You're not frozen to us. So just don't sell it.
I hate when you get lucky with the cards like that.
Don't sell it. Is he good, Brian H?
Yeah, he can't hear then.
No, I think he's fine. Okay. Anyways, I think he had issues with this yesterday. It's all right. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/The Wrestling Room, Playlist Championship Culture, Brother Hugh has the third, and Brandon the Guy, they go on a quest to have certain conversations about everything in the world of pro wrestling championships. Henceforth, the name Championship Culture. Now, well into season 4, the brothers have decided to take a different approach this year. They have added so many different new and exciting topics in regard to everything championship belt related. So, who better than to have this conversation than the Belt King himself, Brandon the Guy. So, without further ado, Brother Guy, do you want to tell the people what the latest episode of Championship Culture was about on Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/wrestling room?
Yes, especially when you whisper like that. Oh, my brother, it's time to testify. This Tuesday on Championship, Tuesday just passed, Championship Culture, myself and Brother Hugh, besides all of our technical difficulties, we went into a deep dive.
Which was quite hilarious, by the way. It made for great television. I just want to put that out there.
And apparently everybody in the comments was loving it too, because it was a heck of a time had by all. But we talked about something that goes in these boxes and how it relates to belts. But what came first? The side plate. I'm sorry, the nameplate. So we talked about the nameplate versus the side plate. So the good thing about that conversation is not all belts have either. But in 1980, I'm about to draw a blank. Why did I draw a blank that quick? 1986, I'm sorry. The Big Gold introduced the nameplate. But then we saw in 2013, side plates came. So we had to break down this conversation and talk about the uniqueness, the style, the need for either one. So if you want to see an in-depth conversation with some hilarious hijinks that was not done on purpose, please go watch Championship Culture Season 4 entitled Nameplate or Side Plate. And I have to ask the good brothers, which one do you prefer? Before we get to your notes, Realness.
I'm glad you asked that question. Now,
As I do things like this to just show the cases.
It's fun. People need to see that stuff. You know me, but I'm gonna don't pull that one out, because you know you have a very special championship belt that you keep locked away, so you don't scare yourself in the wee hours of darkness. You walk into the room, he's staring at you. But Brian H, talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? Nameplates or side plates?
It depends on the era. Depends on the belt. So because in 2025, I got to go with the side plates. I think they just define more of the wrestlers. Sometimes shows their personality just to see the logo. So but if we're back in the day, the nameplates, there wasn't a lot of great nameplate logos. with a lot of the wrestlers the way they are today. Like, as soon as you get as soon as you become a wrestler, you get a likeness, right? Back in the day, it was only meant for the superstars, like the Bretts, the Shawns. You don't really think of a Rick Rude logo. You know what I mean? So now, Jay Uso, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, everybody has something, whether it's a logo or like with Charlotte with the eyebrows, like it's something to represent them. So I'm all for the side plates in this generation.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys know me. I'm rather complicated, so I wouldn't be me if I was not as complicated as I am. So, without further ado, if anybody knows me, if I cannot be on the show of Championship Culture, if I can't be in the comments to disrupt what's going on, I've got to take some notes and I bring them to the show the following days. So, with that being said, as I've said 1,000 times, ladies and gentlemen, I've got notes. So there you have it. Of course, I've got notes. Sorry, Brian H. I know Jonathan has already disrupted the situation, but it's okay. Just add me to the list. We'll go down together. So, yes, brother guy, you have missed it. I said I've got notes. Did you see it? Did you catch it?
I missed my whoopee.
Yep, you sure did.
It's okay. I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie to you, right? I think it's time for us to kind of have this conversation. Now, I know you guys did Championship Culture yesterday, and I know you guys did it. And I know you guys, got through all the technical difficulties and stuff of the show. But I feel like we got to bring this conversation. We got to bring this conversation up again. Because realness. If anybody that knows me, I'm extremely complicated, and I am extremely complicated about this situation as well. Okay, so are you ready, brother guy? You're gonna get a kick out of this. All right. So when it came to the conversation of nameplates or side plates, here's the thing. Now, when it comes to nameplates or side plates, I feel two different ways about it, because on one hand, I'm not really tripping over it in terms of what I see on TV. Now, what I mean by that is I don't mind side plates. I don't mind nameplates on championship belts. I don't mind neither one of them. Now, as a fan, when it comes to championship replicas, I'm not a side plates kind of guy. And guess what? I'm not a nameplates kind of guy.
That makes sense.
So when you think about, here's what I've never been a fan of. This is me personally. This is realness. Every time you get a championship belt, when they introduced the concept of side plates, it was a new way to kind of commemorate moments, superstars, because even belt makers, everybody, they had their own like nameplates. You know what I mean? You could order a custom nameplate for certain things, right? And I was like, if I ever got a championship belt, I wouldn't even put a nameplate on it, because one day I might feel like Sting, the next day I may feel like Macho Man. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I walk around in a trench coat on a Sunday, I'm gonna grab the belt and feel like Sting. But if I find my T-shirt where I cut the sleeves off and the little slivets, I'm gonna feel like Macho Man. So I don't want a specific name on it, and to be honest with you, I don't even want my name on it. So I was like, man, I've never been a nameplates kind of guy, especially as a fan. Like I said, as far as what I see on TV, I don't mind it. It's fine. Like, it's a lot of the points that you guys made about nameplates, even like on the original Big Gold or the WCW version of the Big Gold, it made sense because that was the world championship. But when it comes to my particular era, the belts got over without having to need nameplates or side plates, especially in the World Wrestling Federation. That was one of the belts that you pointed out. You pointed out the Big Eagle. It's an iconic championship, including the Winged Eagle. These are two championships that have never, it's like they stood the test of time. They've never gotten old. You know what I mean? And they're selling just as much now as they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, how many years ago it's been since it's been out. So it's like, well, I don't need them. I didn't grow up on them. Not necessary. Now, I was pissed when Brother Guy brought those ugly tag team championships back up. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. There's no reason for these things to even have nameplates or side plates. I did agree with Brother Hugh when he said, when it came to like world championships, right? it makes sense for like the WCW big goal because it was discreet. Now when it got to WWE, it just got lazy because it seemed like they just put like black stickers over the nameplate, and I was like, bro, why is it in black? It's all gold belt. It should be etched in gold. So I was never a big nameplates side plates kind of guy. Even now, if I were to buy a replica belt, I want the standard WWE side plates. I'm not buying WrestleMania belts. Some people, like I said, people have different reasons to get them. Sports teams to commemorate events, their favorite champion, stuff like that, which is genius marketing. You know what I mean? When they went to the network logo championship, just the design of belts kind of restructured how we looked at championship belts, and of course they continued on with the other belts that they were using, and it's like, okay, well that makes sense because now you give people a chance to do that. So no, prototype. Those belts are absolutely horrible. You know it.
I was waiting for you to see that.
No, he wants to keep he wants to just hold it. No, those things are atrocious. They remind me of a bad time period. But yes, like I said, the belts of my childhood did not have nameplates. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't need them. I'm not tripping off of them. They're not necessary to me. And even when I buy my own, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, I'm not disagreeing with you as far as the side plates and the nameplates, because I understand, like, it fits your personality. You ain't representing nobody, god darn person, you know. And Vaughn brings up a good point. Some side plates are better than others. You know, one of the things that I always regret is missing out on the WrestleMania ones. Like in my head, I was gonna collect them, and I was gonna go back and look for like every WrestleMania I went to. I was gonna get the side plates, and yeah, that didn't happen. Probably won't happen. Like same with the Royal Rumbles and the. But I always said I wanted to get like the actual wrestlers that I enjoyed. Well, that was like I still got to get Rock, Roman, gotta get all the black champions. But I understand like why, either way. But like when they start doing the nameplates on, say, the US title and the Intercontinental title, I'm gonna let y'all say something. You can leave that to the world title. Now me, I put my name on that bad boy. That's what I do. Put my name on everything. So, I had one of the name belts back in the day, got from East Point Mall. So, I enjoy my name. So that's the reason I'm putting it on the belt.
Was it the metal belt or was it a digital belt with the nameplates?
Nah, so I had the ones with the little spark, not the Cuber Zirconias. And it was just the B, the I, and the N. So every other letter.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Shout out to the name belts. Hey,
name belt. I wanted that to marinate just slightly. I wanted that to just sit there for a while.
Taken a lot of pictures back then. In like 2004. 2004 was great times. Even Flair's signature title had the dates of his title wins on the side place. Yep. Some of the plates, but they worth a lot of money. If you don't get the pay-per-view or PLE nameplate, side plates right away, good luck. You're looking at $300 or $400 or $500 on eBay, except WrestleMania. Everybody was home, which is 36 because that's the one I got.
Yeah, that's they're like legit collector's items at this point. You know what I mean? It's like, yep, once they go, we're not restocking. So,
and it's insane because when you look at how the belts are designed, a good belt doesn't need a nameplate or a side plate. Let's call it what it is.
True.
A belt that stands the test of time. And that's probably why I keep going back to TNA's belts. And I'm talking about from their inception, when they started making their own. They didn't need to have a nameplate. It was literally a good-looking belt that you could tell that's their champion for whatever it may be. But WWE, how they designed these networks were for brand recognition of the company and then for the brand of the wrestler. The only thing, and I really wish that they would do more of, because, I did it before Roman, or everybody want to say, or he say, I copy Roman, whichever way you want to look at it. The two different ones. I really enjoy the two different ones. Because what's wrong with having main event on one side and Jey Uso logo on the other? You know what I mean? Or like having the two different ones like Roman or like John Cena has now. I think that's actually more creative and unique. But those belts are made for that. Those belts were not. So that's the other thing, the biggest argument about that.
So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I completely disagree about the TNT Championship changing colors. You know, I've been completely against that. So yes, so when it comes to me having an issue with it, what I prefer, I could. It doesn't bother me either way. I'm not gonna lie to you. But at the end of the day, but as a fan, when it comes to a championship that I'm bringing home, I don't need neither. So there you have it.
I'm gonna get the TRD tape. Oh, this is what we doing?
But see, realness, the thing is,
I just had to slide that in real quick, Brian.
the stock side plates are all different on every belt. So, like, some of the stock side plates have color, some do not. And it's insane because on the first one that had them, you could tell how they changed so much. This actually has a globe behind it. It has parts of the world behind it. On the original one for the scratch logo.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want to take up too much time because we got a lot of wrestling to talk about. And you see how they just... But we didn't see these because when The Rock debuted them, it didn't have these. But when you got the belt itself, then you're like, oh, this is what they look like. These actually look a lot more in depth than just, oh, no, take the globe off and just do a generic Triple H. I'm going to call this Triple H style globe, where it's no world or no map of anything. It's just literally the lines. So,
and I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
I'm okay with it. I'm basic is fine by me. I don't need extra custom stuff. What was you about to say, Brian H?
Oh, nothing.
Okay. So yeah. So those are my notes. And if you want to go back and watch this episode, which I encourage that you do, the first 20 minutes are hilarious, by the way. But yes, nameplates or side plates. And what episode is this, brother guy?
The number, this should be 5, I think it was.
Okay, so we'll call this episode 5 of season 4 of Championship Culture. Like I said, watch the first 4 episodes of season 4 of Championship Culture and do yourself a solid. Go back and get familiar with all the other. Plus, you get to see championship belts all the time. If you're a belt person like myself, I just get a kick out of championship belts a lot. So anytime, you see brother guy's background and all these dang on belts, and then he's got side plates and conversations and side plates, it's always a good time. Don't forget, it's every Tuesday at 8 p.m. at youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. So, like I said, this is the Great American Wrestling Weekend, so we have a lot to get into. So we're going to jump right into the show. And, of course, we're going to ask our co-hosts, Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, to do us the solid and the honors of ceremoniously starting the show for us by ringing the bell. Gentlemen, could you do us the solid and help us start the show, please?
Want to ring the bell? Ding, ding.
Oh. Now we are about to jump right into a lot of wrestling, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the brothers if they had an opportunity to watch anything this week before they jump into an entire weekend full of live wrestling going on. Because every show we do a segment known as What Did You Watch, right? It doesn't even have to be necessarily wrestling matches, but the wrestling content. Anything that gets our minds and our hearts prepared to have these conversations every Wednesday and every Tuesday in some situations. So, with that being said, I'm going to ask the good brothers the same question I ask them every week. Gentlemen, what did you watch? Brought to you by our good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers, what did you watch? So, did anybody watch anything interesting this week before we get into this heavy Great American Wrestling Weekend?
Yeah, you last week you asked me a question. Was Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, I'm gonna call him Mr. Perfect, not Kurt Hennig. But was their match at? Cause
you know the crazy part is though about brothers is like you could say the slightest thing and it could start an argument because the fact that you just did that, it's like that could have easily sparked a debate. But I'm gonna let you finish because he's like, why? Okay, go ahead.
Because Kurt Hennig was a shell of himself by the time he was in WCW.
See,
in the ring.
There you go again. That's not fair.
Ring.
It doesn't matter though.
It was moments.
But who is
memorable? But that's the thing. So that's why I said he's going to be Mr. Perfect in this conversation. Because if this was
you're a SummerSlam guy, I get it. Go ahead.
and so I watched the match at Uncensored actually just a few minutes ago. No, they no. It didn't match up with the SummerSlam match. It didn't match up with the King of the Ring match. He was just clearly like I hate to say it, but he was a shell of himself. So he was noticeably slower. It looked like I hate to do this to Bret Hart. It looked like old men wrestling. It looked like if we watched Adam Copeland versus Christian in AEW, and if they put Matt Hardy as the guest manager, like Rick Rude's there, it's just it wasn't a bad match. It's just it wasn't, Brett and Perfect SummerSlam '92. That's in my top 10 SummerSlam. It's '91.
That's a classic.
Yeah, Brett and Perfect at King of the Ring was just solid. It was so good. That was not it. It was okay, but it showed you why 98 WCW was like, oh boy, we're starting to lose control of things right here.
So first of all, one, why did Matt Hardy have to catch a stray? He had nothing to do with the situation. Number two,
I had to think of somebody. I was gonna say Michael Hayes, but he mixed the heating in the AEW.
We enjoyed a lot of old guys wrestling each other in TNA. We got some really classic moments because Team 3D versus the Outsiders, man. That was in the cage match. That was old, but I enjoyed that. So it's like
good. Everybody brings up Team 3D. Goodness gracious. The most overrated tag team I've ever seen in my life.
That's not true. Have you seen who's an overrated tag team off the top of my head? I'm trying to think.
The Dudley Boys. They're overrated everything.
The ECW run might have been overrated. There you go.
ECW was overrated. So it stood the time to get us where we got to for the Attitude Era. But
how could ECW be overrated when no other promotion gave us flaming tables and New Jack hitting people with vacuum cleaners?
Because exactly it was indie wrestling on TV. You're right. GCW, that's what it was. It walks so GCW could run.
GCW never created stars. They get it like one. We know about Nick Gage, and then we always hear about Matt Cardona. Like ECW was funded by Vince McMahon. It was subsidized, as Jim Ross would say. Jerry Lawler
are not top 5, Ron. They're not better than the Hardys. They're not better than I'm about to say All Night. They ain't better than All Night Express. They're not better than the Rock and Roll Express. They're not better than the Midnight Express. They're not better than the Hart Foundation. They're not better than the Outsiders. They're not even better than Undertaker and Kane. They're not. They sure not better than the Usos and the New Day.
In all fairness, the Outsiders wasn't necessarily a tag team,
but they drew money.
They did. I love the Outsiders. They're one of my favorite tag teams. As I said, they weren't really.
Not just like it's just always every time I turn around, it's Dudley Boys this, Dudley Boys that. Like goodness gracious,
because they were great.
It wasn't. You could have had all those TLC matches without them, and it still would have been great. All you needed was.
But you couldn't have tag team wrestling without them.
Yes, you could have.
We wouldn't be talking about tag team wrestling without them.
I would be. I don't need a Dudley
Boy.
You
would talk about wrestling without anybody. You would be talking about wrestling. Wrestling fans would know about tag team wrestling without their portion and their addition to that history.
You don't need the tables. The ladders is what was fun. The concerto.
But you didn't need chairs. You didn't need chairs.
The Christian made chairs cool. The concerto, the tables, like they, it was a better situation. Two's a couple, three's a crowd. It was better with
a chair would give you would cringe when you saw a chair shot to the head, but going through a table was cool because it was always off of a spot. It was something different. They were innovators of
innovate that. Bret was the first one to go through a table on TV.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
Going through
95. Bret Hart is the first person to go through a table on TV.
You never heard about Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge
on TV? On a pay-per-view?
Going through a table off a stage. Going through a table. They made going through a table. God. They made going through a table cool because it was always a different way to do it. The
Boys are just loud. That's all.
You said the who?
Dudley Boys, they're just loud. Both of them. Both of them two loud idiots with a microphone. That's it.
Well, listen, you don't become like a 500-time tag team champion for
If I'm being loud.
no reason. But we
you
enjoy
do.
old guys. We enjoyed old guys wrestling. I take offense to that. I enjoy Kurt Hennig's run, and you cannot deny the fact that Kurt Hennig came back to WWF at the Royal Rumble, and he was about to be a main event player. He was about to be in all the top storylines.
Oh, because he was Mr. Perfect, and that was the thing. Don't get it twisted.
He was still old though.
He's still in my top 15 favorite wrestlers of all time. But when I see Kurt Hennig,
young Perfect or old Perfect, because I didn't know you had this animosity towards old Kurt Hennig.
No, I just realized it when I turned that on because you sent me there.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Right. But so this is my fault. Because you know what it was? He gave me moments in WCW, not matches. Mm-hmm. He gave me great moments from the rapid crap, the my spot. You know, he was a good person. Like I enjoyed him on WCW television. Just that, not so much in the ring the way I did WWE. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
What makes 1,000% sense, because he was known as a ring general. It's like you get older, it's like, look, I look the same, but these knees don't move in the same direction.
The person we compare him to the most, Dolph Ziggler.
Exactly.
I have no problem calling him Nick Nemeth, because when I'm still getting great, I hear myself, but I'm still getting great matches from him on the indies or in Impact or TNA wrestling. Like I'm enjoying what I'm getting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I get it. You know, I mean, Perfect was on that stuff too. So it's a different ball.
Don't say.
Yeah, come on now. You know, it was party time over in WCW. You know,
listen to me. It was definitely the Wild Wild East. I can't even call it the Wild Wild West. It was an insane time, and don't get me wrong. So this is. I didn't mean to go this direction.
Learn how to spell. That's not how you spell Stephen A. Smith, buddy.
Oh my goodness. I'm curious. Look, Jonathan, because you said something about him dropping them hot pockets out the freezer. So now,
I think it was the ice and the Crustables.
He said with these abysmal takes. So here's the thing.
And all capital letters. All caps. He put the emphasis on it.
You see what happens when you feed children their favorites? Listen, you feed them the specialty, the good burgers. Yeah. And this is what I get.
You said something about that audio and about his project, and he chose war. He said, "Okay, I got something for you."
He said it's on.
Comments. He said, "Okay, I'm not gonna say nothing out loud, but I'm gonna get these comments and give you a piece of my mind."
He can't deny this. He gonna see this. He should change his. He should change his screen name. He should have changed it. They'd be like, "Why is Hollywood like this? Is this why he's a heel?"
He gonna stand on business.
Look at it. Burgers laced with treason. Wow. Well, first of all, you know how Jonathan feels about his ruthless aggression era. So, but it was just, we're not even going to even crack open that can of worms, because once again, we'll have a three-way argument going all the way offline in the comments and on the show. But I have a quick question, because I feel triggered. My old guy's caught us straight. Has there ever been a match where you have seen some like superstars of yesteryear, maybe not in their prime, but put on good performance in the ring, what made you go, "Oh yeah, I enjoyed that match when they were older rather than when they were younger"? Is there any situation where you was like, "Oh, I mean, I can tell you one off bricks. You know, it ain't gonna mean much, but it's enough." You said who?
Everything with AJ Styles.
No,
that is true.
No,
AJ Styles.
I enjoyed all of it.
AJ Styles does get better like fine wine.
Oh, you mean that way? Okay.
Yeah. Like he's put on like. You said who?
Charlotte Flair.
She doesn't count. She's in her prime right now. Like, it's not her fault she came out the gate on fire. Like, she doesn't count. You gotta wait till she's like it's like.
And I'm not calling her old. You're right. So let me.
It's something different if it was like Trish Stratus. You know what I mean? Like she's like coming out of retirement, but she's like, "Oh, you put on a better match." But you see her put on a better match, like not her beginning. I'm talking about like now versus her prime.
Who, Trish Stratus?
We talking? Yeah,
definitely.
Okay,
Everything.
Wow,
I don't think Trish Stratus missed the boat since she's come back. Maybe not as good as the others, but you know she had some good matches once she got into her prime. but just the quality and obviously the way it's being booked, getting more time and to tell the story and to
Yeah,
get in the ring and do the graps of it all. But I would
sure.
definitely say, yeah, and all right, I would agree, definitely with the Undertaker. Undertaker, you can make the argument didn't have a lot of people to work with, the way he did later, and he had an
Yeah,
embarrassment of riches to work with. Even
during
Shawn Michaels
Jonathan's
too.
era.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I don't see that's where I don't know about that one. It's not that I don't agree with it, but it's just the pants. The pants
It's
bothered me.
always that's the thing, right? But the thing with HBK was so hard is that you can make an argument. He's like Kobe 8 and Kobe 24.
Yeah,
That
he had 2 Hall of Fame careers.
2 Hall of Fame careers, and you can make an argument and a case for both of them. So yeah, when
Yeah,
people make
that's
their
true.
comparisons, and a lot of people love comparing Shawn Michaels to Michael Jordan, which is for obvious reasons. Both of them
Sure.
considered goats, with rightfully so. But don't forget, Kobe Bryant's a GOAT as well. And, if Jordan would have stayed with the 4-5, it would have been the same equivalent to Shawn Michaels leaving and then coming back. It would have been the same thing for Michael Jordan, the way it was with Jordan. Shawn Michaels, if he would have played more politics and wanted that role, would have had his next 3-peat, meaning another couple of longer, lengthy title reigns.
Okay, what about you, brother guy? Do you have anybody that you feel like, hey, look, I saw him in his prime, but then I saw this person have a better match when they got older, rather than a better version of a match, rather than what we saw during their at their peak, I guess you consider, in the ring. Tearing that ice up.
I couldn't think. I was like, who? Because I know people that when we saw him again, it was still as good. Like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. When he came back, I was like, wow, it's like he was in a time capsule. So I'm trying to figure out who got better the older they got. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking going 3, like who?
And even if it was just
better.
a match, even if it was just a match, like, oh wow, that was much better than it was when they were in their prime. Like I appreciate for whatever reason.
I know what.
Go ahead.
You gonna agree with Rhino when he came back and was working with the young guys at NXT. Remember that?
I don't agree with that. You
don't remember?
Let me ask you a question. I remember it, but you think what he was, not necessarily everything he was doing, but versus prime TNA? Because to me, his best run was TNA.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying his ECW WWF run when he came back to WWF again. Okay. Yeah, because TNA was here, but when he came back for NXT working, I was like, I was like, okay, he hasn't not necessarily missed a beat. It was better than his first WWE run. I was like, okay, right on that time in TNA, refreshed you, got you going, and you still got it.
We've sparked a little bit of a situation. Thanks a lot, Brian H. Vaughn has said he would say late 2000s Chris Jericho.
Oh, no, you're going to put that on the screen. You're going to put that on the screen. Put that right there. Yes.
No, that's probably Chris fair Jericho, to say too, though.
No, he got worse when he got older because now after he lost the AEW title.
But when you think, when he returned back to WWE after like whenever that year was it 8 or whatever it was, he came back.
9.
Yeah, so around 8-9 versus like his 99 run. You know what I mean? I was like, it's an argument to be made, because I'm going to say I enjoyed probably that version of Chris Jericho more than his early runs of because I never thought he fit in with The Rock and Stone Cold, and I'm happy that he was there. Don't get me wrong, but we saw him in WCW, and then all of a sudden he gets in the main event picture. And of course I'm biased. Everybody looks all jacked, and Chris Jericho's walking around with the pants. So I was like,
he didn't fit that mold of what the superstar was. He didn't fit
not
that.
on that time.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was his fault. It was just The Rock and Stone Cold. And then you got Mick Foley, and then you got like this. That's
Triple H, Undertaker, Kane,
Kurt Angle,
and then you got Jericho. One of you don't belong.
Kurt Angle was coming. So it was like, oof, that was a tough scene to crack.
He had to dance with his best dance partner, he who shall not be named. That was the thing. And once they got the really, really dancing, it got him ready so that we could get the late 2000, early 2001, well, late 2001 run of Jericho. But
which I hated, by the way.
Did you really?
It was
Ponytail
like
pissed me off.
well, he said in his book it was his world title run was kind of like he didn't really feel like that first time we won the undisputed title. He didn't
Hmm.
get all the red carpet laid out for him,
Of course.
and even if
Yeah.
the Smudge finish when he won the WCW world title was the same thing. But I think that what I did, is I'm glad they made the call because he was supposed to be in the main event of WrestleMania 2000, and
Right.
I'm kind of glad they made the call. Hindsight being 2020 to take him out of the match, even though we necessarily didn't need Mick Foley in there. We all know that main event, as we said on Give Me the Book, which is 2 episodes on the Wrestling Realm channel.
Oh
Give Me
boy.
the Book. I explained why that main event should have been just The Rock and Triple H, because when you look at iconic history of matches, there's one of as far as great rivalries. You got Brett and Shawn. You got Cena. Well, you got shoot, I just drew a blank. You got Hogan Savage. You don't have a Rock versus Triple H. You got Rock versus Austin. And I was kind of hoping we kind of got a Randy Orton, John Cena 1-on-1. We didn't, but we got John Cena and Batista.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. I think one more that comes to mind because Brian H, you sparked quite the conversation. And this is why it's funny, because it's that one comment. I was like, wait, let me stop it right there. I got a question. But yes, I say Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Huh? Come on now. Just what they gave us versus the comeback match.
If we want to be honest, that's prime Goldberg.
Bobby Lashley. That's why Goldberg was good. Bobby Lashley.
Well, but before that, though, but just going back to 2017,
one of his best matches he's ever had.
Yeah, it's prime
Yeah.
Goldberg isn't 98, 99 when he was at the height of his popularity. He was
what was prime Goldberg?
The match you just brought up, Goldberg and Lesnar. All right, that's prime Goldberg.
With you talking about gray beard Goldberg?
Yeah, because he worked smarter. His matches were better, even because they were short and sweet, but it was right to the point. You ain't feel like, oh my goodness, like when he wrestled Undertaker, goodness gracious. After that put a bad taste in everybody's mouth, right? Regardless of whether it was his fault or not, but that put a bad taste in his mouth and everybody's mouth, and we can never trust a Goldberg match again. If we're being honest, we're going, oh boy, here we go. So that's why I said 2017, 2016 with Universal Red Strap, Universal Champion. That's prime Goldberg.
Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting take. It's
because after the Undertaker and the Fiend, we really didn't trust him because he destroyed the Fiend in my mind.
Yeah, kind of. So he kind of set him back. Dante Rose, D Smooth 210 on X said HBK, Okada, Taker, Kurt Angle, and Kevin Owens. So there was got a little bit of social media engagement going on, but this is like I said, this wasn't intended.
He always supported.
Yeah, so
he said Okada.
Shout out to Deontay. He said Okada. He said Okada looked better as he got older. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But yeah, no, good job, Brian H. Listen to me. If there's anybody that can spark an argument, I'm trying to tell you, because that was it. I was like, man, and my man Matt Hardy caught a straight bullet. He caught a straight in all of this, but it's Kurt Hennig versus Bret Hart. I enjoyed it in WCW, even though Brian H has gone out of his way to debunk the myth that no, it was not better than anything we did in their prime. But this is why we have Brian H here. So I forgot about that, but I was like, oh, you know what? You're going to be the one to go back and dive into that. So thank you, Brian H. I'm glad you cleared that up for us. I enjoy NWO Kurt Hennig, but it is what it is. But like I said, there's a lot going on this weekend, and it's quite a bit. I'm still reeling in my mind. I'm trying to think. Was Jeff Hardy's matches? I think Jeff Hardy's matches got better when he got a little bit older. I don't know. It's certain eras. It's not. Jeff Hardy's been around since 1993. So it's like
when he was like 12.
Yeah. I didn't like none of Jeff Hardy's singles run until he got to TNA. Everything post TNA, everything TNA on down, I was like, okay, I'm all here for a Jeff Hardy singles run.
Because he was default. Oh, give him the belt. Give him this. He never had meaningful title runs, and he didn't have a meaningful singing career until he came back. Because remember, that was when it was, I don't do with the heavyweight championship, give it to him. None for the European, give it to him. Nothing to do with it. Give it to him.
That's bad. But you know the crazy part is about their brother guy is like they probably didn't trust him for other reasons.
Yeah.
But Bret Hart versus Kurt Hennig in WCW was like watching Olajuwon versus you in 2020. It's 2002 is it's crazy as it sounds. It's probably wildly accurate. Like with Hakeem Olajuwon playing with the Raptors and
the Raptors,
Patrick Ewing playing with the Orlando Magic. It was like, these guys used to run the NBA. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But yes. But what about you, brother guy? I know that's this. What did you watch? He took on a whole different life of his own. Is there anything that you watched this week that kind of got you situated and settled for this Great American Wrestling weekend we're about to have?
So it's funny because I was talking to good old brother Hugh, and we were talking about the status of wrestling, right? And I said, I feel like it's,
sounds like a news report. The status of wrestling brought to you by brother Hugh.
And I'm gonna say this to see if anybody ever knows the reference. The Wrestling Takedown Federation. If you know that reference, that's all I'm going to say. Go back and watch episode, I think it's 10 of season 13 of South Park. That's kind of how I feel sometimes watching wrestling. And that's all I'm going to say.
Anytime you get a wrestling episode on South Park, look out. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And I'm going to put a clip in the chat for y'all to laugh at. And you're going to be like, I remember this episode. And you're like, yep, that's how I feel sometimes. So... didn't watch a lot of wrestling because I knew we got 746 hours worth of wrestling starting, like, by the time we end the Wrestling Room Down podcast, because it's going to be back to back to back to back to back. Stuff.
You know what, though? With that being said, let's just get right all the way into it. So, how are you guys feeling about this weekend with all this loaded content that's about to come our way? Because we got a Great American Wrestling weekend. Have gotten.
I totally forgot about. Sorry, I totally forgot about Saturday's Night Main Event was squeezed in there too. I was like, oh,
there's something for everybody.
I totally forgot.
So now, make sure you share this because that's too good of a graphic just to be used on this show.
Okay, thank you. So we have gotten instructions from our social media producer, content editor, and manager. So crazy part is I did this just for the sake of it because I'm like, all right, but all these images are not going to fit in the screen. But yes, I will make sure that this I'll make sure this goes to social media. But yes, as you can see, man, we got All In Texas, AEW, and then of course we have WWE Evolution. This is 2. The second one that we've done, all women's pay-per-view, which are PLA Premium Live Event. Excuse me. We also have NXT Great American Bash. I couldn't find a collage photo big enough, but it's no disrespect. And of course, we have Saturday night's main events with Goldberg versus Gunther as the main event. Now, I believe there's probably going to be another match added to this, but as of this recording, nothing has been situated as of yet.
That's all we need.
Well, yeah, just, Can
we just appreciate Tony Khan for not having 96 matches at one time? I was so happy that
it's crazy.
More stuff to get added.
Is this the first one?
I think this is the lowest match card he's had in all of his pay-per-views. And it's going to be, and I think because this is going to, I think that main event is going to be the one that needs the most time between that and Okada. And Okada and Witchcall are probably going to go an hour. Okada and Kenny Omega probably going to go an hour.
That might be a 4-hour show just because, I'm
going to tell you, Mercedes said, get this done because I'm going to be your team player and stay for the whole show and do the stuff afterwards. But afterwards, I'm getting to Atlanta to go see Beyonce with Trinity. So that's the reason why this don't got 1,000,001 matches.
Okay.
Do those post press conferences and all that media. Remember, the show starts at
3.
Yeah, they started early, so they wouldn't. They did it early, so they wouldn't counter program. And WWE was like, "No, we still counter programming you."
So I'm assuming this is 3 p.m. Central Time, or was this Eastern Time?
Eastern
Hold on,
time.
let me check the graphic. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, because I've been getting times wrong.
No, yeah, look, there it is. So it's
so it's 12 o'clock there.
12 o'clock. Oh, this is afternoon show in Texas. It's probably gonna be hot that day. That's probably what it is. Like they're not gonna be inside.
Global Life Stadium, home of the Texas Rangers, right across the street from Arlington. Yeah.
So how you guys feeling about this week? This is a lot. It's a lot. Now, I don't know. Jonathan is still going off in the chat. I'm sorry. He's distracting me. He's Beyonce ain't done nothing for music since Lemonade. There you go. He about to start again.
Says the person who loves Tyler, the Creator.
That's exactly what I was going to say, but I didn't want to air him out. But your father did it for me. So how do you guys feel about this weekend? Are you guys excited for this Great American Wrestling Weekend? Is this too much? Is it overkill? Are we getting too old for this?
Look, I'm gonna watch it when I watch it and watch it on my time. But I will say it is cool. It's great for the people. I'm really excited about the AEW show. And really because these stories have been cooking for months, right? We've been waiting for Mercedes to have that AEW World title shot. We've been waiting to see the belt again. I don't even think there's a belt in the graphic of it is one in Hangman Page to John Moxley. And I know Brother Brandon and Brother Hugh said it could be possible we may get a new belt because we ain't seen a belt in so long. So I'm waiting for this. I want to know, are they going to do it? Are we finally going to get that moment? Will it be Hangman Page walked away as champion,
Oh gosh.
or I know this whole casino thing. Is it possible? I don't know if that's how it works. That MJF could win it and then go out there and steal that moment. But who knows? But yeah, I'm excited for this. Obviously, I wish the women's evolution would have had another show. But I will say this: as much as everybody wants to talk about how much there was a lack of buildup, and I've been one saying that a lot myself. These matches are matches I'm all excited for, and I'm excited for. I believe they're all going to deliver. Naomi and Jade is the best story in women's wrestling right now. But then Io and Rhea, that's just walking 5-star match. Trish Stratus,
walking 5-star match.
Yeah, Trish Stratus, opportunity to win the championship. Come on now. So and shout out to Queen PR. She was gonna say the women always deliver when it comes time, and that's true. So the last evolution, I wish there was an evolution that followed up the first one. That we should really be celebrating. Was it 5 or 6? Not Evolution 2, but y'all sitting up there and y'all gonna say put their backs against the wall. Trinity or Naomi already said, look, go to both. Go to the concert and go to Evolution. But y'all put their backs up against the wall. And what the women are going to do, they're going to bundle up and they're going to deliver.
Brother Guy, how you feeling about this weekend? What are you looking forward to? It's a lot of wrestling going on. Where's your eye headed?
So remember the last time we had this counter program and multiple things, I felt like I couldn't enjoy it because I was trying to watch both. But I think I'm going to take the stance and just enjoy one. Go back and watch
the wrong thing. Was it you or that Brother Hugh? That was like I should have watched this live instead of watch that on a tape on the tape delay.
So but the thing is, like, I hate this as a wrestling fan because I shouldn't have to be forced to choose a side. There's 4 weekends in a month. There's 4 different shows. You could have gave me wrestling every weekend, and I would have appreciated it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I hate the fact that I got to sit here and try to figure out, all right, if I start this one at this time. All right, then I can catch this one, or I'm going to be up all night trying to catch it. Stay off of social media because, you're going to miss everything. The one that I'm most excited for, I'm probably not going to watch live because I want to see what AEW is going to do because this is kind of like a put your money where your mouth is. And that's what I feel like this show has become because I'm like, okay, it seems like Tony Khan is moving in the right direction. We finally got Sasha Banks 100%. She's not going back to Mercedes Moné. She's been our Sasha Banks that we love. Toni Storm is just God. She's just great. Like, you can't say anything negative about her. The thing that bothers me the most, Evolution should be the shining spotlight of this year because in 2025, women wrestling has been the best it has ever been. And that's because every year we built up and we ramped up to this point. And I hate that. That's the one I'm most looking forward to. And y'all know, as soon as it was rumors of Evolution, I was like, bring it. Bring it. Like, let's see what they can do. And the way that these women have been putting on matches and shows across all of WWE, I just hope it doesn't get overshadowed. Great American Bash, that was one of my favorite NXT pay-per-views that they keep putting on. because that's the one I always get excited about because it seems like they always have those moments or those matches I want to go back to.
Mhm.
And Saturday's Night Main Event, okay, all they want to worry about is a Goldberg match. What is he going to do? Is he going
That's
to
what
win?
we're here for. You know it.
Yeah. So it's like you got all of these different aspects, but couldn't we have had this just spread out over July before SummerSlam? I'm just saying, couldn't we? We could have started, and I hate to say it, I feel bad. So any trash talk that Tony Khan does, because he did, he tried to do it so it wouldn't be against anybody else. If I'm a wrestling fan, enjoy this show and keep going. But now, oh shoot. Did y'all hear about the change in seating to All In show? Oh, I didn't.
They having a big stage, larger ramp, and larger entrance ramp and stage.
Okay.
All in is like their WrestleMania, right? They're like Starcade almost. I guess you want to call it more than anything.
It's in a baseball stadium, so that's going to be interesting. Also, I'm wondering, is that going to be a new type of extravagant stage setup? Like, you know how it is. Everything that we loved about WWE that they took away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, AEW, give it to us. Give us Black Wrestling Champions. Give us those extravagant sets.
What kind of world do we live in? They give us Black Wrestling Champions. That's sheesh.
Yeah, they keep the Triple H. The great Triple H took them from us.
America. Well, shoot.
And remember the whole thing about All In that is here in Texas because they couldn't go back to London because Coldplay is on tour in the venue that they were going to use. So that's why they brought it back to the United States. Which
were they going back to Wembley?
But yeah, they couldn't.
Okay,
they couldn't because Coldplay has the dates locked in for so many shows, so they couldn't go back. And that's what I'm saying. Like we got all these dates. We didn't have any wrestling last week, right? We didn't have any PLEs. Do we have any next week? But we got 4 this week. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
that was the best part about Vince and Ted Turner, because regardless of what, and also people was paying for it, so they knew nobody was going to pay. You know, our parents wasn't going to shell out $60 in one weekend. Some pay-per-views were $30. They wasn't going to shell out $60 in one weekend, but we were able to get a pay-per-view this week and a pay-per-view next week. You know, instead of all this mess at the same time. It's like, bruh, come on now. You know,
and I hate to say Saturday's Main Event. The only thing that's of substance is Goldberg, his match. Because do I really want to see LA Knight and Seth can main event a Raw SmackDown? So can Drew McIntyre and Randy. If they're going to heat back up this rivalry, good. But I don't need that on a Saturday's Night Main Event. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, that's what we're doing.
Well, the thing about Saturday Night's Main Event is always the show to the casual fan. And since LA Knight's the guy and the Slim Jim guy, he finally gets one of these matches to kind of get some more crossover appeal. I've been one who's been very critical of LA Knight, but I will say when I saw that crowd pop on Monday, I said, okay, let's see what you got. Let's see what you do with this. He had the crowd in the palm of his hand. I would say more than he's ever had him before. And he's had him. I'm not going to deny that. I was at the Battle Royal that he won, that Slim Jim Battle Royal he won in Detroit, and he had the crowd. But this one, he really had him. So hopefully he can build off that momentum. So I think this being on, having the spotlight, all eyes on him Saturday night will be huge. And with Drew and Randy, that's just going to be fun to watch. Something just personal as they, they want the world title, the WWE Championship, but they're both in each other's way.
Bro, that Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, that could like main event any other wrestling promotion's top show.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a treat. But
it's a main event. Every main event is a main event.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think you guys said something. But first of all, shout out to Brian H for the LA Night love. I got to play this now because you hear what he said. He's very critical. So
he's from the wrong side of Maryland, but I'm still going to give credit where credit is due.
I mean, that's not his fault. But
I don't like the way he dressed.
His pants too tight to be tucked into his boots. That's
like you should, like growing up, we wanted to dress like The Rock. You feel me? We wanted to dress like Stone Cold, or we wanted to wear sucker shirts like DX. There's nothing. I don't see children say I want to dress like LA Knight.
No.
They want to dress like Jey Uso. They want to get their haircuts like him. They want to wear the shades like him.
Were you upset when you found out that Rock's shirts really weren't $500 shirts, and the shirts that we did see at Alco's were the shirts that he was actually
I was
wearing?
gonna say modern image, but
I mean, either way.
yeah, no, I wasn't upset.
Well, that was East. I was, because I was like, bro, I could have. I wanted one of those shirts just so I could say I had a $500 shirt, but I feel like a fraud the whole time.
Brother Hugh used to wear them. He used to wear them to school. He had them type of shirts. When we had casual day, he would wear them.
The problem is, I feel like I couldn't put it off. I couldn't pull it off because I couldn't wear it with no shirt. It just wouldn't look right. He wore it onto the ring unbuttoned. And I was like, it's puny child. It wouldn't work. But let's stick with AEW All In Texas. Now, we talked about this, and I'm glad you brothers kind of both had hit on some very valuable points about what you're looking forward to as far as this weekend. I especially got a kick out of you, brother guy, getting upset. Like, well, god dang, why they giving us so much this weekend? Can we spread this out just a little bit? That's if there's a reason for a wrestling fan to get upset, that's a good reason. But on the match card, like you said, we do have an AEW Women's Championship with timeless Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné, who I absolutely love at this point. She's having the best run of her career. Everything she's doing is perfect. Yes, we have the women's casino gauntlet match. Of course, the men's casino gauntlet match. I like how they have it's not meant to just to be like a throwaway. It's got some type of stipulation to it where at least means something that you have to tune in. And of course, my boys, the Young Bucks versus Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. They're going to tear the house down. I just wish the Young Bucks would go back to wearing their old gear. That's my 2 cents on it. Jon Moxley versus Adam Page. Go home, Adam. It's just not working for me. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not because his gear. Let me just rant for a second. I knew you were going to say that. Because I'm going to say that. I knew he was going to do this. I had such high hope for the type of star that Hangman Adam Page. Now, if I saw you first in my mind, it means I discovered you. That's how I think as a wrestling fan. I remember seeing him on Ring of Honor on Sunday afternoons in the ring. Part of the, he was BJ Whitmer's young boy. Him and Damian Priest were, in a space together before Devilman came back and took Damian Priest. But I was like, man, if he ever develops, like he's a young talent, he looked good in the ring. And I said, if he gets some decent gear and a personality, he's going to be a problem. He never got decent gear. And he did get a bit of a personality because we saw signs of it, in the early years of AEW, some of his best work. But for me, it's just like he gives at 80s Magnum TA, I'm trying to be a cowboy. And I'm like, bro, I don't need that because you don't really come off authentic about it. Don't seem like I've seen a cowboy. His name is Brock Lesnar. He'll tell you, no, I farm my ranch. I do all that stuff, right? So it's like, okay, I know what a cowboy looks like. Let Bret Hart said, look, man, he didn't want to be a cowboy gimmick. He said, listen, where I'm from, if you're not a cowboy, you better not claim to be one. Okay. So I'm so disappointed. I'm not gonna keep going. I'm so disappointed in what he has become. He looks so grizzled and old, and people love him, but he's just, to me, it's a disappointment because I feel like if he had just tweaked his look just a little bit instead of just trying to be this old school 80s cowboy. But I digress. I'm done.
Let me be honest with you though.
Talk to us.
I think I would be more invested if he hadn't been champion yet. If this was like that final crowning moment,
built like a build up.
Yeah, like in pro wrestling, it's all about that. And when they gave him the title before, he didn't find himself the way he did now, right? Now, I understand why you don't like it, but to me, this is where he's coming off as this guy who has to save the company and get it back on track because you got this big, bad, nasty heel who's the most perfect heel in professional wrestling in Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if it would have been, like, if it was Ospreay, it's like, this would be perfect. But I feel like it's almost like Ospreay, they keep putting the wheels because it's like, we don't want to give you this too fast. We know, like, it's almost like when his moment is already penciled in.
Yeah. All in. And they're trying to buy time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes it's kind of like in sports, right?
Mhm.
When they say you miss your window,
Yeah.
if you'd have told us last year around this time, if you would have said when we were sitting here, we would say, okay, if the Orioles aren't winning the World Series this year, they'll win it next year. You
That's
wouldn't
what
have
y'all
told
assumed.
me. Yeah, you would if you'd have said they're gonna be 40 and 50 next year, I'd have been like, yeah, right.
No.
You know,
We're
and
40 and 50, by the way.
so my thing, right? Things aren't guaranteed. So
True.
sometimes you gotta strike while that iron is hot. We've seen that so many times, and of course, my mind
That's a
is
very
going
good point.
blank. But you know, and granted, yes, I know it's Will Ospreay. He's one of the greatest wrestlers already. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You know, so it's not fair to say he won't have it. But remember, if you would have told me 6 years ago
Mhm.
that Okada would have no aura in the United States promotion, I'd have
That's
thought you
terrible.
was crazy.
Yeah. Facts.
And
Facts
now look
solutions.
at him. Now he's got his best dance partner this Saturday or Sunday. But if you'd have told me that, because at that time I thought Okada could do nothing wrong, plug and play him anywhere,
Facts.
and he would deliver. So you just never know. And I just wish it was Will Ospreay in this match. But I do wish that because of the type of buildup this is, I really wish it would have been his first time winning a championship.
Yeah. I definitely get that. And of course, you know, it's a Texas death match. So he's got, you know, they're like, who wants to do this? I'll do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's we probably
How
could
many
switch some
CCs of
things.
blood?
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure
How
they
much
got
blood we spilling?
they probably have already like given blood ahead of time, just to be sure. Like, okay, let's get about 3 or 4 pints and just keep it on deck because this is probably going to get ugly. Everybody's got to get up to date on their shots, stuff like that. And we also have we have the Hurt Business.
Oh, wait a minute before you move on, realness.
Mhm.
I was going to say, because remember, I thought it was going to be Osprey in this event. I mean, in the main event,
yep.
but
You sure did.
I didn't. But when I really stepped back and thought about what, if you really think about it, Adam Page is a AEW star.
He is.
When he first went after the title, he had to cleanse his own demons. That was his story. So when we saw him rise to take the title from Kenny Omega, you know, the AEW chosen one, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, this is why. He got the approval from the Young Bucks. He had the crowd coming back behind him. He was exercising his demons, everything cool, right? Now we had to see him fight through the ranks. And now the story they're telling is, who can save AEW? Will Ospreay couldn't do it because he's an outsider that's been given the world in the eyes of the fan. We know what we're going to get from Will Ospreay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Swerve couldn't do it because he came up short. Christian couldn't do it. Adam Cope, couldn't do it. You had all these people trying.
Better call it man Edge.
But now that we got him, and he said, I'm doing this for us as an AEW because you deserve this. Yeah. I'm the one that can do it because I can climb this mountain. Because think about it. Jon Moxley took the title from who?
I don't remember. That's the crazy part.
Damn,
who did he beat?
Exactly.
Spit. Now I'm mad all over again.
Right. Who was our outsider that we loved and we needed him to get that title. But then, oh no, who could take us? The person that beat the best wrestler, right? It's got to be somebody that the crowd is going to say, yes, this is who we're accepting as our guy. Because if you got to think about it, once he does do it, what's the next step?
Right. Yeah, but see, that's the thing that kind of has always made me mad at the end of the day, right? I've always seen him as like a people's champion. He's always had Diamond Dallas Page vibes, which would have made sense if this was his first time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
That's why they built the story so long. I think that's why they gave him this long story.
And I got no beef with it. I don't like this old cowboy, thick mustache, 80s Magnum TA look of his. And I'm just like, bro, come on, man. Like if he was just a young stud, you know what I mean? But like to me, it's overly cowboy. It's overly like, all right, we get it. And his gear was never where it needed to be in my mind. And and Daniel Bryan's never coming back to wrestling. He's got his dad cut again. I saw him see him in LL, and I was like, oh, he's back to wearing plaid shirts and his hair parted. I said, he's really done. no braids, nothing. So I was like, okay, all
From
right.
the
I guess
show, yeah.
he's really not coming back for real this time. But we have I'm saving this match for last because this is my 2 cents on it. No, I'm sorry. I promise. I'm not trying to be here longer than we're supposed to be. But Brian H, you guys are saying stuff that just sparks up these natural conversations. So of course we got the Patriarchy versus the Hurt Syndicate and Jet Speed. I don't like this match at all. No disrespect to anybody else in this match, but it's like I do too for real. But I watched
It's a collision match. It's a collision match.
I watched the Go Home show. I'm not really interested in Jet Speed as far as talent, and I don't really think they have a chance against the Hurt Business. You got 50-year-old Shelton Benjamin. You got Bobby Lashley. That's Bobby Lashley, and then you got MJF and you got MVP. And it's like, then you got Christian and Kyle Fletcher, who's going to be an absolute monster in this industry. Like, mark my words, he's going to be a problem. But I'm like, bro, come on, yo. Like, this can we get some serious dance partners for real?
That's the thing.
Like,
who can really mess with the Hurt Business?
Well, that's the whole point. Like, why couldn't you build somebody? Why couldn't you? I don't know, man. I just don't
know.
like.
Ricochet got your boy with him. The agonies of the gates of agony.
Yeah, but that's okay. Once again, if we get off at 1:00, it's your fault, Brian Age. You won't stop. Just think about it. If there was ever a team to build up to this point, right? All the way up to this point, I would have loved to see the Gates of Agony, like, give them more personalities, give them chance to speak, let the fans get behind who they are as individuals. I would have rather saw them be bullied by the Hurt Business all the way up to this point. Just to be like, okay, now is our time to do something about this. Enough is enough. And then that, to me, because I just like the Gates of Agony. I like I like them. I'm telling you, I've always had eyes on them. I think they have a really good look. They're really good in the ring. I said, man, if somebody could help figure this out, they show up in NXT tomorrow. Game set match. Too bad WWE's tag team division is in a toilet. Except DIY, they're the greatest tag team in WWE right now. But you disagree?
Keep going.
Okay. All right. And then you talk about brother guy. You disagree?
No. I was going to say I don't. I don't like the makeshift tag teams because you had capable tag teams that you fed at the beginning and then they disappeared.
That's why
I don't. And I hate that nobody can be. And my biggest issue with AEW has always been nobody can be on their own. One week I'm wrestling one match, and the next week I got a partner magically. Speedball had his 3 matches, and now you put them together. Oh, they're Jet Speed. Oh, okay, good, thanks. Because and don't get me wrong, the patriarchy makes sense because they're a faction, right. But do they really make sense? Because is this for Nick Wayne to turn on Christian, for Edge to come save him? I mean,
what we're going to get Edge and Christian? Are we going to get Edge and Christian versus the Hurt Business now? Okay, so it's just that's what I'm trying to say. This is my whole point. And then you have Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher. So you have Kyle Fletcher in this match with Adam Cole, TNT Championship. Because we mentioned the patriarchy earlier, and I'm saying to myself, okay, like Nick Wayne is who he is, right? But Kyle Fletcher, I'm like, you guys remember when Adam Cole used to be a star? You remember 6 years ago when he was part of one of the craziest factions in all of professional wrestling? Like, you guys
takeover.
You guys remember when he was a big deal? Him and his group?
Remember when he came on SmackDown and fought Daniel Bryan and he was an NXT champion because they had travel issues with everybody? And it was like, wow, this guy really can do it.
And NXT showed up to save the day. Triple H and Shawn Michaels pulled up in some DX Jeeps and said, all right, we know what to do here.
We got this.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, man, you talk about missing the boat and not striking while the iron was hot.
But Kyle Fletcher, he's been start-stop. He's been a victim of that too. So I hope he gets it because he should have been ROH champion because he was doing a lot of things last year with ROH that was making me pay attention to ROH, and you could tell.
And they snatched him off. It's like developmental. Yep. Go down there, get over. All right, cool. Let's bring him back.
And he put on some of the best matches AEW has, second to Will Ospreay. And
Kyle Fletcher's going to be a problem. Him and Nick Wayne. And then you have Okada. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. AEW Unified Championship. I guarantee in 6 months this belt will have a different name to it. It's not going to stay this. It's like the International and the Continental and the All Atlantic. Like this is nowhere in the world this championship is going to be called the AEW Unified Championship.
It's gonna be the Dynamite Championship.
Like that's supposed to be a nickname. It's supposed to be like the AEW all continental champion unified championship. You know, this is literally just AEW unified. Like, what are you unifying? Anyways, I like the fact that Tony Khan likes belts because he just gets new championships. I don't know. It's first of all, if I was that's why it just doesn't. I mean, he is. They just sell them. He sell them for $1,000 at house shows. I mean, at the live events.
It ain't like that's all.
Exactly. So here's I have one question, and we're going to move on. Is this what is Omega and Okada going to do compared to what they've done before? They've got a bit of a history, and we'll be here for another 6 hours if we go into that history. But do you think they have a chance to kind of bring some of that magic back that they had in New Japan?
Yep, it's gonna be an hour long. They're gonna put on an hour long wrestling clinic that everybody because we're gonna get that old Okada that when that coin drop. Remember how excited you would be, and we're gonna
bring his aura back
in this match. Yes,
so he better not come out there with no black and white trunks and just a regular look. Like he better come out with streamers, a big old robe, gold chains around his neck, money flying everywhere.
Yes, and when he get in the ring, they need to pop the streamers and everything.
Yeah, throw the I will go nuts for that. I'll be okay with that. Kenny Omega, not the man he used to be, but we talked about guys getting older, guys looking better. Can this match be better than anything they've done before in New Japan? Can it be better? Is that possible?
I don't think it'll be better. It'll be something that we're discussing.
Wow, both of you guys are saying no, so y'all not even giving it a chance.
Nope, not with the health issues and stuff. It's going to be a different style, but I just don't think it's going to be better, and I don't trust AEW booking. Same way people don't trust WWE with stuff. There's certain things I just don't trust. So I'm not for it.
You know how we talk about Kenny Omega and Daniel Bryan match, or how we talk about Kenny Omega and Christian's match, how those two have stood the test because they were made in AEW. This is going to be one of those Kenny Omega matches that we talk about from his AEW run.
Wow, go ahead, keep going, because we got a bit of a hot take.
Yeah, because I think this will be okay, we know we can do with each other. We trust each other. Here's our greatest hits in AEW for you.
Look at this, though. Vaughn says that Kenneth Omega 3 versus Okada could be a sleeping pill for people who are struggling to sleep. So he's going the complete opposite. He's not buying this at all. That might be a little bit of a stretch. Like, come on, we got faith in these guys. They're two of our favorites. Now, unfortunately, here's my nephew. It's Jonathan. He's stuck around for the whole show tonight. I'm trying to surprise why he's not. It's summertime. It says AEW books matches like I used to when I was 7. Hold on, it gets better, everybody. With my action figures. Okay. All right. So look, Jonathan, I'm still booking matches with my action figures. So don't look, it's right here. So yeah, it's a triple threat match in case you want to know. It's Macho Man, NWO style versus Hogan and Sting. WCW Championship right here. There it is. Man. That's right. I got a lot of action going on.
Which gear with Hogan?
Old school lightning gear Hollywood belt.
Oh, nice.
NWO weight belt. Yeah. Sting, it's old school 1998 post arcade Sting. Long hair, Marilyn Manson. Yeah, 97. Excuse me, 97. Yep.
Oh man, no NWO Sting. Respect Sting.
Nah, I was never. I had that when I was a kid. I never converted when I got older. So I was like, nope, this is always the definitive Sting of that era. So yeah, you get used to that after a while. But yeah, so I'm still booking matches with my action figures as well. But look, he says it still has invited me to play. You're too busy directing movies and talking about the ruthless aggression. But we have to move on. So All In. So okay. I'll wait to the end. So let's move on. We got NXT Great American Bash in Atlanta. This is an early show as well, 3 p.m. WWE's throwing a lot of stuff out. Is this on purpose? Let me just ask that question. Okay, so you're convinced, brother guy, this is on purpose? What about you, Brian H? This on purpose?
Yeah, when you keep attacking the bully, or you keep attacking somebody that you're not built like that to go against, they're gonna keep coming at you. Even when you try to dial it back, and they started this. Tony Khan started this month. I mean, a couple years ago, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels not letting up.
Okay, well, like I said, we have a lot going on. You guys looking forward to NXT Great American Bash in the same way you're looking forward to All In?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear hesitation, Brian H. What's going on, buddy?
I'll say this.
Tell the truth
I'm
and shame the devil.
looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to All In more, but I am looking forward to the Bash. But NXT has kind of been like,
yep, say it. Go ahead and say it. It's plateaued a little bit.
It's a little upper mid. Really, the only thing that's really got me interested is the women. To be honest with you, like I mean,
what about Ethan Page?
Ethan Page and Ricky Starks. I mean, Ricky Starkman, Saints. That's been fun to watch, but it's still always like, okay, y'all doing this again. It doesn't, and I get it. Like I don't know, maybe
playing the hits.
Yeah, maybe if it was on a bigger platform, I might be a little bit more invested. But I do need to check out as much as Wrestlers Podcast. I do need to check out Cody's interview with Ricky Starks because that's a personal relationship. So I know that it's going to be stuff that we wouldn't usually get versus, Cody interviewing Bianca. It's just like, oh, whatever. But when he interviews like his friends, these are the type of conversations that I always want to see. Like you and your close friends, not just your peers or somebody, just because y'all did the same business or worked in the same business. No. So,
So I'm going to go into the card and I'm going to finish up with a question for you, brother guy. I want you guys to answer it. This is going to be really good. Watch this. So we have Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe versus Fatal Influence. That's one match. And of course, we got the NXT North American Championship with Ethan Page and versus Ricky Saints. Falls count anywhere. And of course, we have the NXT North American Champion Soruka versus Easy Dane. So that's going to be fun. And of course, Javon Evans versus Jasper Troy, which is, never mind. I'm not going to get into that because I'm not going to bring up LFG right now. I'm not going to bring it up because you know me, I'm jealous. And I feel like that should be me in that match, not Jasper Troy. I should have won LFG. You know how I feel about these Tough Enough shows. I feel like I'm better than everybody on there and it should have been me. So like I'm naturally hating on him as a black man and I know it's wrong and I'm not okay with it. It's just the way that it is. Should have been a wrestler. The TNA World Contract. Yeah, well,
that would be a great way for you to honor your good friend Virgil.
No, don't do that. Try to. That's your guy, Virgil. That's the guy who discovered Brian H, ladies and gentlemen.
Nah, he discovered he was ready to sign you to the contract. He was gonna be your Virgil. You was gonna be $1 million Man 3.0.
And he was gonna have me sign a deal where I was gonna be giving him 70% of my money.
Now you was too smart for that even then. So
yeah, I was too smart. Hit to the business. TNA World Championship contract side. We have the NXT. I think that's everything, right? And of course, we have the NXT championship with Obafemi defending the NXT title against Yoshiki Inamura. Now, have we officially got into the point where Obafemi is having the same issue that Undertaker is having, where it's like, he is so massive and dominant as a champion, as a presentation, as a performer, that it's kind of hard to find an equal for him, someone that can legitimately be a problem for him individually. Like sometimes you struggle to find dance partners where it's believable. You need people to make money with. I remember, I never understood the fascination of Batista early on when he was doing his devil gimmick in OVW, and Undertaker went down to literally see him and said, listen, if you get yourself together, listen, I think you got something going with you and we can probably make some money down the road, which they eventually did. I think Undertaker gave Batista his best match he's ever had at WrestleMania 23, by the way. So are we officially there now with Obafemi where we're like, bro, we're struggling to find people that's like his equal?
This is where I always say, because NXT is the third brand, stop yanking talent, because then what's left?
Is it good that you can say that now? Do you feel good? You remember that was a rumor, they officially announced it?
Right. And I'm like, okay, so You yank all this talent from them and put them on Raw and SmackDown, and they're not doing anything. But then NXT is suffering. And if you think about it, Trick
Like who?
Williams is now Carmelo Hayes.
Okay.
Case in point, Ilya Dragunov, Tyler
Yeah.
Bate,
Well,
Dragon Lee, Solo Sokoa. You could have did. I just wanted to trigger you.
let Solo.
I just wanted to
let
trigger
him
you.
go. Go ahead.
Let him go. But you got all these
names though.
Yeah, and they could have been doing something because now it's like, okay, so come on, do something. Trick is now focused in TNA because you realize, the biggest star that could do this, you put him there. And it's like, so what is left for, and let's call it what it is, Oba has nothing to do. He's getting people like, here's somebody care about him, here's your match. And the reason I'm saying that the Great American Bash keeps giving us these matches to go back to, because we remember last year, Roxy versus Thea Hale. We remember Fraxium versus the Rascals. And the year before that, we got to see Thea Hale versus Tiffany Stratton, Ilya versus Carmelo. These are some of the matches that you remember. This card is so sad because it's like, all right, we're trying to play it safe, but you yanked all your talent. We saw what happened with this Tuesday. Stephanie's music hit, the crowd went nuts. And then it was just like, Julia, stand there. I was like, Julia, wait a minute. She's just standing there with her title on, and we're not even going to acknowledge her? Okay, Zelina Vega standing right there. You could have you have the talent, but you put them on the main roster to have them enjoy nice catering. So
I understand what you're saying, but the thing and reason I'm not going to criticize them making the moves is for one simple reason. It's all about the almighty dollar. And that title, that increase in pay, it alone is worth sitting in catering, if we being honest. Like Melo clearly bought you see, shout out to him and Kalani getting married. He had overstayed his welcome. There was nothing else for him to do there. I think that it goes back to Paul Levesque's booking, which is terrible. But when you really think about it, in NXT, I think the issue with Obafemi is, like you said, he's in that bridge where he's not yet ready, because if he goes to the main roster, his look alone screams what you would have done with Brock Lesnar, what you did with Brock Lesnar in 2002 alone. That's the way Obafemi looks and should be presented. But if you put him there, you can't do that. See, Trick is different because Trick still has that. He still looks like $1 million, but you can put him in a mid card and it'll be fine because he can work with people like a Damian Priest. He can work with people like a Dragon Lee, and it's not so far as, we need to hurry up and put the title on him. Obafemi's in that because he has a larger life presence that you have to take your time and carefully build him, and I think he will get there. Maybe if anything, as much as I'm not a fan of the guy, maybe they did pull the trigger on the matches with him and Moose a little too fast, because those could be some of the matches that you have coming sooner. But I think that the way it is with, if they could spread out, at the end of the day, you need house shows. The TKO group, terrible killing
that they're cutting down on. Yeah.
They cutting down, and it could have helped them, but by them getting rid of the house shows, that does give off us like, okay, how can you get these stars and how can you get some of these people over too? Because you imagine like seeing Trick Williams and Jacob Fatu. I think those will be some fun matches, but I think it'll be fine, and I know Oba's going to be fine. Sure. It's just we're sitting back waiting and kind of playing the patient. We just got to be a little bit more patient, but he should be a guy in the Royal Rumble coming this year.
I promise you.
But see, that's the problem. Like, I'm not disputing the money aspect. I want them to make as much money as they can. But from a pure WWE World Wrestling Entertainment, you pull me from one brand, I get a paycheck, and the brand is now suffering. That's my point. I'm just saying the brand is now suffering.
I don't think none of them complaining though.
No.
I don't think the brand is suffering because CW hasn't complained yet. They're on television.
You're missing what I'm saying. Like right now, do you want to see Great American Bash? But last year, the year before, we were excited for Great American Bash. Now it's like, it's on. the brand is suffering. Like, let's call it what it is. Trick is carrying
No, the
TNA.
men's wrestling may be a little bit mid, but the women's wrestling is thriving as always. So I wouldn't say the brand is suffering. I would only say the brand is suffering if both sides was. But you just brought in Blake Monroe, and you got her, you got Jordan Grace, you got a women's title match, a tag team attraction match that's going to lead into Evolution. So I don't think the brand as a whole is suffering.
Yeah,
No, what I'm saying is, do you want to see Great American Bash more than Evolution?
No, I want to see both of them equally because I want to see it lead into it.
No, do you want to see All In, or do you want to see All In or Great American Bash?
I want to see All In.
It's definitely All In.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And in the past, Great American Bash has been that pre-SummerSlam or post-SummerSlam, whenever it came, oh, this is what I want to see. Like the NXT PLEs have always been, I hate the word must see, but I felt like it was excitement. It was a thing towards it. Now I feel like it's like, oh yeah, it's there. It just feels like it's there.
Understandable, but that's understandable. I see where you're coming from. But in actuality, the way wrestling is going down is how it should be. It should be, the excitement level should be TNA, NXT, AEW, SmackDown Raw, or Raw SmackDown. Like, just based on
the wrestling hierarchy.
The wrestling hierarchy.
Yeah. So I got a hot take for both of you because I think you guys make both points. Yes, I do believe that the women are doing an excellent job, but I'm not sold on them being like box office, like crossover. Like I'm paying to see them over something else. I think as wrestling fans, yeah, because we're wrestling fans, you know what I mean? But it's like, but because of the common denominator that I think I'm hearing both of you guys say, and I promise this is the last fight that I'm going to pick because I know we're going a little bit over. But this is an action-packed, great American wrestling weekend. The thing is, you are critical of Paul Levesque's booking, but I'm like, Paul Levesque never had this issue when he was running NXT where you didn't know who was going to be the next moneymaker for the brand. Now, we as fans might have questioned it. And I give you an example, Andrade versus Johnny Gargano. Nobody thought that was going to shut things down the way that it did. I said, I'm not familiar with neither one of these guys as much. You know, I heard about them. But then they went out there and put on, and I was like, okay, cool. I see why he's about to be NXT champion. It was like you knew who was coming up next, but ever since that 2.0 color splash, it seems like there's this problem of succession. You don't know who's the next person up. It's like that our generation of NXT, it was seamless. It went from him to him to him, and it's like you saw who was coming next. It was basic booking. It was almost like Attitude Era-esque, where it wasn't that hard. Well, as far as your moneymaker, the face of your company, like if somebody's going to be a star, even on the way out, you're making another star, right? And it's like so it was a seamless transition from.
I thought you meant once they got to the main roster because that still was questionable. No.
See, because that it was just in NXT because NXT has these laps all of a sudden, and I'm saying I'm noticing it.
Okay, I get where you're going. Okay,
so 2.0. We're going to build around Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. Okay, cool. Braun Breaker was there for a period where he had nothing to do. Okay, we said he's the guy. He's going to be the one. We're building around him. Cool. Now, who would he face off against Braun Breaker? We looked around like, all right, well, we haven't even built the next person yet. We're trying to build Carmelo Hayes. He ain't there yet. So now, while you trying to wait for Carmelo Hayes to get to a certain point, you got to bring down Dolph Ziggler. And now I'm more intrigued to watch Braun Breaker back and forth on Raw, beefing with Bobby Roode and Dolph. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. This is the Braun Breaker's got my attention. I'm gonna go back and watch NXT. Cool. And then they're like, wait a minute, is Carmelo Hayes there yet? No, not yet. All right, keep going. And it's like, okay, cool. Then Carmelo Hayes became the guy. And then now, okay, Braun's like, all right, well, it's nothing else left for me to do here. I guess I gotta go. You know what I mean? The first day, Walter changed his name to Gunther. He was gone. Samoa Joe was hurt. I don't know if it was legit. He dropped the title. They had to figure out, I don't know if it's just a reset. Karrion Kross was like, what are we doing? Karrion Kross loses. He was the guy at the time during that pandemic era. Loses to Samoa Joe. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, cool. It was just Adam Cole and them decided to leave, but you had a succession of you knew who was coming next, and it was a line, right? And it was like
your boy HBK can't book a succession.
I'm saying ever since the 2.0 color splash, we have not had successful. At least at the top. Like I'm not talking about everything else because I get it. It is a developmental space, even though it is a third brand. But at the same time,
the men's side.
Yeah, I mean on the men's side, but that's the box office draw though. Like because if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't have taken so much time with Evolution too, because they're all until those names became familiar names. That's what took so long to because if you look at who was on the first Evolution compared to who's on this one, it's like okay, cool, it's all established names. You know what I
I
mean? But
thought it was a here damn pay-per-view though. I don't think it was ever meant to happen. I think it was just a here, take it, fine. Y'all want it, we'll put you on the worst weekend possible.
but think about it though. At least it's like a
It was
high
set up to fail.
it's I don't think it's set up for fail, but it's like a low risk, high reward type situation where it's like, okay, listen, we're going to put you in a situation, but it's no pressure because you got, because just in case people don't respond to this, is because the reality is they're saying something that they don't want to tell you, which is we still believe that women's wrestling is kind of niche, right? It's because it's one thing when you put them, like I said, you got to have when I'm talking about crossover appeal, like Charlotte Flair has always had crossover appeal because that's Ric Flair's daughter. So whether she's a woman or not, they're like, wait a minute, Flair's daughter wrestles and she's flipping and she's bigger than him and she's faster than him and she can do more in the ring. Like that's crossover appeal. You know what I mean? The man, Becky Lynch, you know what I mean? That's crossover appeal.
Now,
so like,
okay, and also remember how long it took us to get Becky to where she is. Remember?
and that's true.
3 years.
But to your point though, where was that at though? That was on the main roster.
Right.
Like it wasn't in NXT, Becky. You see what I'm saying?
And I was going to say that earlier. Like all the women didn't get there in NXT. It took time to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we saw the groundwork was laid, the foundation in NXT, correct, right? That's where we were like, oh, okay, these women can wrestle, not women's wrestlers, right? And then they got to the main roster and they became players, not women's players. They became players. Like we wanted to see Bayley come out. We wanted to see Becky do her thing. We wanted to see Charlotte. We wanted to see Asuka. And then that was the blueprint that paved the way for the Rheas, for the Liv Morgans. Liv Morgan's not in no women's storyline. She may be the women's tag team champion, but she's in a storyline with Dominic Mysterio. She's got her own feuds going on. She called out, like, you see what I'm saying? It's not women's based content. So it's not like, hey, this is the women doing the women's stuff because of the women. Like, no, she's a professional wrestler and she's got a storyline. We talked about Naomi and Jade, right? It's like, no, that makes sense. We know somebody that acts like that. Like you don't have to be into the women to relate to that story. It's like, oh no, I know a chick that was crazy like that. That one, that it's you see what I'm saying? So
you know what I always say too. I've been saying for months. No need for Evolution 2. We need 4 and 4. We need because when you tell those stories right, you can have an equal amount of men's matches and an equal amount of women's matches. Like when you go back and look at WrestleMania, all the women's matches meant something. You know what I mean? So even if you started, like, if you wanted to put WrestleMania in one night, you still could have had all those women's matches and removed a men's tag match or two. You know what I mean? So like when the story's done right, I just think that when it comes down to it, and this is where I see the difference between Vinnie Mac and Triple H, where I always said like WWE always, like, everybody who's worked with Vince McMahon, as problematic as the human person is, the booker, it's always been better. Like we see them when they get by themselves, they don't have training wheels. We saw this with Vince Russo. We seen it with Triple H, where it's like a lot of stuff that we love Triple H's booking in NXT because it was on a smaller scale. And then when he first took over, it was like when you get that when the boss, when you get a new boss, when we was at the Blue Box, right? And they made they made a transition from one dude to the next. The one dude that we was working with, he was doing everything he wanted to do. And it was like, okay, this is new life or whatever. Then after a while, it failed. Right.
Bingo. Yeah.
And so now when I see with Vincent, I'm not saying Triple H is failing, but a lot of the same complaints that I should say the same way the IWC or people in general was complaining before, they're doing it now. It's just redirected a little differently. Where Vince would, at least when everybody worked together, there's a lot more back and forth as opposed to where it's like it feels like it's okay. This is way because this is why we do it. Where there's a lot of methods missing to the madness.
No, I listen to you. I agree with you on that. As eloquent as that was, I agree with you 1,000%. Because, like I said, to me it goes back to Shawn Michaels. You're not excused from this either because
not at all. Yep.
he has put so much time into like the women, but I'm like, you're not putting them in positions to make money though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, they're getting over with the audience as far as NXT concerned, but you got Obafemi as your champion, and now he's supposed to be at the top of the card. Or if not, why haven't you like don't half step? If you have a female that's a superstar like a Rhea Ripley, it doesn't matter what division she's in. Rhea Ripley was a star because she was Rhea Ripley. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, you know what big difference is too, though?
who's that?
And the imbalance of natural collegiate athletes versus lifelong wrestlers,
Well,
right?
superstars, yeah.
Because if you look at the 4 horsewomen, right,
Mhm.
3 of them were wrestlers. One
Yeah.
of them was a collegiate athlete. It just happened. So collegiate athlete was Ric Flair's daughter and the greatest women's wrestler, right? Will become the greatest women's wrestler. But you look at all the guys you name when they had the remember the Click 2.0, right? Which was Hideo Itami, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Neville, and Finn Balor, right? All of them were veterans by the time they got there. There's not enough
well-traveled
veterans. Yeah, and not enough people because the indies have been rated, thanks to AEW, that where you could sprinkle in those people to work with an Obafemi, to work with a Jasper Troy, where you could kind of build these guys up. And even with the women, it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, now let's get Jordan Grace to the main roster. Like, whoa, slow it down, because you still need those people. You know, yeah, you got her and Blake Monroe, but you still need those women who can kind of work and tell those stories with your Kalani Jordans, with your Sol Rukas, with your Jada Parkers, and your Lash Legends. So there's got to be that balance.
That was my point right there.
He's missing.
That's my point.
Blame Tony
Khan. I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that. I said that's exactly what Brother Guy was just talking about. Like, you do that. Like, if you don't do it with the women, like, why are you so trigger happy to do it with the dudes? Because like Carmelo Hayes still ain't doing nothing. Like, is he still with the Miz now, or what's like? I don't. And it's no disrespect to Carmelo Hayes. It's just that, like you said, it's a bigger platform. It's like if the stories aren't there, people are just not getting invested just because you can put on a match.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the whole. Like, yeah, why pull a Jordan Grace to the main roster when she could be the face of that brand? She's not going to be the face of Raw, SmackDown. She could be the face of NXT. She could be the face of NXT right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? But if you pull her to Raw, you got Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Liv Morgan. Yeah, she Becky Lynch and Bayley? Come on now. She can't be the face right now. She can hang with them, but she ain't gonna be the face.
Come on now, like,
she ain't gonna be the face of it.
Crossover right WWE audience. You know what I mean? Like, she was a big deal when she showed up the first time because she was the TNA champion. She was still the queen of that island. So she came over like a queen, not just another member on the team. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, cool. That's how we saw her. You don't want to mess that up. You don't want to have her being looked at in that light, and then all of a sudden now she's just a part of the group. It's tough. It's look.
I know who did make an impression.
Who's that?
She's the tag team champion, Roxanne Perez. Right place, right time.
He was in that match with Kairi Sane.
And we ain't gonna talk about that part.
Okay, all right.
We talking about making impression. We ain't talking about wrestling, because there's a common denominator there. But I'm not going to be a Vern Gagne booker. So
a Vern Gagne booker. We gotta keep moving, because we'll be here way too late than we're supposed to be. But we talked about the women and we talked about WWE Evolution. Now, some people are celebrating this idea, and Brian H., you're not necessarily for it, because it's like, okay, I think when you look at the card, this, and I'm just going to say it now, this card could potentially steal the show of the weekend, could steal the weekend, just because of how loaded that it is, right? Like, it's loaded with content, with stories, with so it's like, to me, when you build a wrestling card, you gotta have the reason that you gotta have your marquee. This is why people come to see the entire event. You gotta have your work rate. You gotta have your celebrity or your vet or your established player, and then you gotta have, important stories, right? So we have that with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They're gonna, if they're let loose, like, they're like, look, man, look, you got 45 and a half minutes, let it rip. They're going to go insane. You got your celebrity you got Tiffy versus
Trishy.
Trishy. Like that. Come on now. That's like a mom and daughter in the ring. You know what I mean?
Pull the trigger. I want to say thank you,
yeah,
Trish.
yeah, of course you would.
One more time.
And then then you have.
I got to tell her that in person though.
How does she respond? I just want to know.
Yeah, well, I told her. She told me, this is real talk. This is real talk because we was recording an interview, and I said, I want to say thank you, Trish. You know, said my lady right there bought me the thank you, Trish shirt. She said you should thank her. That was her response. And I told Lita I had her tape. They was like, wait, did you have DVDs? And I said, or VHSs. I said VHS.
Wow.
25 years of Trish. This is the date. This is the day to do it.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not going to be against anything Trish Stratus related because she is absolutely amazing. But then you talk about like you talk about the tag match. First of all, the Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch and Bayley are going to bring Lyra Valkyria to the next level. Like if there's anybody I trust in the ring with anybody, it's Trish. It's first of all, you're getting both of them. You're getting Bayley and you're getting Becky Lynch, and then you have Jade Cargo and Naomi. Once again, this is another chapter in their story tenure. Of course, like I said, NXT Women's Champion JC Jane defends her title against Jordan Grace. She's coming off that. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. And then of course, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Kabuki Workers versus Sol Ruka and Zarya in the women's tag team fatal 4-way match.
So
and of course,
we could leave with 3 titles this weekend.
It's possible, and they're lucky.
Speed champion.
They're lucky Liv Morgan got hurt because once again, you talk about another main event player, moneymaker.
We was getting Liv and Nikki Bella.
Moneymaker. You kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Did we consider the fact that if Trish does win, Naomi could cash in on her?
That's probably most likely what would happen.
But did we because remember I keep saying I feel like that's going to be the match at SummerSlam. First off, I'm upset that it wasn't Asuka and her, but I'm okay that it was Rhea because they brought back their history. And you know I like when they relive the history.
The callback,
yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She hasn't beat EO at all. You know what I mean? So it was like, But I just thought about it. I was like, oh my gosh, what if she cashes in Naomi so she can walk into SummerSlam as the champion?
I think that's a possibility, and then you get what? You get Naomi versus Jade Part 2.
Naomi loses to Jade early in the night, and then she cashes in Seth Rollins style. I lost my match earlier, but guess what? I'm leaving as the champion.
Yeah, probably. That makes it. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to this one. I know Brian is like, they should have did this, but
that's the thing. I'm looking forward to it. It's just that if we was going to do it, we should have kept it going. That's all I'm saying.
So you want something just a little bit more.
I want the respect on it. Like I get what you're saying, niche product, but come on, we could have put it in. I don't want to say the CF. Well, yeah, shoot, the CFG Arena only holds 12,000, whatever. You could have put it in a smaller venue as they did in Long Island, and kept it going every year. That's all I'm saying. You know, or put it in some of the. You didn't have to use the bigger venues. You know, if we was going to do this, we could.
Sure.
Want to see it keep going.
I don't think they trusted it to sell because I mean, why else would they not do it? You know what I mean? As far as like, I think if they felt like they had the stories to do it, like when you look at like we talked about this, the stories, the moments is what sells a product. I think if it was just pure wrestling, I feel like they still look at it like, nah, wrestling's still a niche product. You know what I mean?
If they would have took the time, that's what I'm gonna say.
Sure,
I get what you're saying. I'm gonna say if they took the time, because I could have easily wrote some stories and it would have, been better. I know I could have put together the stories that they were already writing.
No, I mean, no doubt. Like when you look at the highlights of the first Evolution, I mean, it was 2018. You know what I mean?
And I think this is a better card.
I mean, like I said, but it goes back to like where Rhea Ripley is now. Io Sky, it doesn't matter what she does. You know what I mean? That's why she doesn't have to have no deep storylines. That's why you make her your champion, because it's like when she gets in that ring, you know why she's a champion.
Mm-hmm.
But just the history behind a lot like this women's intercontinental championship. I don't know. See, I don't know how long in advance they plan on doing certain things. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
Did you
look,
see Raw?
this past week, no.
Yeah. The moment Lyra walks out there and she snapped on both of them, like you said, they took her to a new level. They're going to take her to a new level in the ring. They did that Monday. Like these past couple of weeks, they've been taking Lyra. She's been keeping up with them because Becky turned her into a woman. Like she was doing her thing, but Becky made her go to another level. And I've been, I'm not gonna say I've been hating on Becky Lynch.
She did the same thing for Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, I like to root against Becky Lynch, and this is a huge difference. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like I want Becky Lynch on my screen as a heel, and I like to root against her because she's
like
fun
Piper.
to root against. She gets it,
Yeah.
and we had the fun moments when she was the man, but lately with like I didn't like what happened at WrestleMania, but I think that was a lot more like Becky playing the backstage, getting her money right. I ain't gonna say politics. I'm gonna say she was getting her negotiations right. No, the negotiations should have been done, and we wouldn't have had to deal with that. But it made for a great story, because I'm always want to see Bayley wrestle, and now I want to see Bayley crank it up a notch to another level. But overall, all this is so much fun, and I think they're going to, like you said, but they've been taking her to a new level on on Raw with the promos, because that's what Lyra's problem is, making you care about her when she delivers on the mic.
What Brother Guy was saying, established players. So it's almost like what they were doing in NXT, like they're doing it on the main roster, but you haven't found people to replace what you were doing on NXT the same way you got on the main roster.
You're trying to keep that same formula, but it's not going to work. And the thing is, it works for a outsider coming in like Penta. It works for Penta because you're establishing him in WWE. But while you're establishing him in WWE, he's a global. But not only being a global superstar, you're putting the WWE camera on him, doing the same thing he was doing in the indie scene outside of the ring, but it's with WWE's camera. So it's like, this is why I care about him. Lyra finally got a character when Becky stepped up to her. And Bayley, and this is why Bayley is going to be a lifer in WWE unless she decides to leave. She brings out that moment in those women that it's like, even in defeat, okay, Bayley did the job. Yep. Even if she wins or lose, she did the job because she gets that woman over.
Man, Bayley has always gone on record saying, like, look, I need new dance partners. We got to create, like, she does that with a passion. Like, she reminds me of Natalya. Natalya does it for a living now at this point.
And remember, we didn't care about Bianca when she got called up to Raw. We cared about her on SmackDown when she had Bayley as her dance partner.
See, there you go. She's a star maker. She's on who does that for the men? She's on not like a Chad Gable type, but like she has the same effect. Like you get in the ring with her and all of a sudden people care. But she has always been that way from the beginning. That's how I cared about Sasha Banks in the beginning. I was like, I remember her when her and Summer Rae and Charlotte, but when she, when they went to war in front of all those people in Brooklyn, then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, these young women are a force to be reckoned with. But yes, I'm looking forward to, I think this is out of all the shows that I'm looking forward to the most. I think this may be the best one. Not necessarily like, oh, it's better than All In or better than NXT. I just think like from top to bottom, as far as a show is concerned, I think this might be the one that says, man, I stayed for the whole thing. You know what I mean? It was never no drop off because it has everybody. It has superstars. It has superstars. They just happen to be women. Like, I don't believe in that. Oh, this is the best of the girls. No, just be a superstar. And I see that on this card. Not so much in NXT just yet, but it's still NXT. And that's for both sides, men and the women. I'm looking at that like, bro, you got no stars. Like when NXT first started, I was like, bro, you got to give me a reason to care about these people. But I don't think.
No, it ain't that bad.
No, right now it's not that bad, but it's not like
I'm not tuning in every Tuesday to see what's going on
because I don't have
championship culture.
No, but remember, we used to sit there and be like, all right, wait a minute, hold on.
What's happening? Doing championship.
Before we hit live, we're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Or hey, check to make sure ain't nothing, and then we go back and watch. But I don't feel like I'm tuning in as much.
The excitement isn't there. Like we remember what it looked like when it was exciting, and it doesn't have to be the old stuff. But give me some. Now, I'm telling you right now, somebody comes in right now that's credible and takes it to Obafemi and leaves him in a pool of his own blood on NXT, you're gonna be like, wait a second, did you hear about so and so? Or say Moose had come in and done that, like on a
Or
serious note.
Omos. If Omos comes back and destroys him, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what?
You're gonna say, hold on, let me tune in
Hold
next
on.
week because I'm trying to figure out how the heck did Omos get back? What did he do? What's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or remember, Ivar was going to be that guy when he was in North American champion, but he got hurt. Remember, Ivar came in and everybody's like, oh, this is a match we want to see. Because it was like Ivar versus Obafemi. We was like, oh yeah. But then he got hurt and we got deprived of it.
Where are the War Raiders anyway? What do you say, Brandon?
Here's some data for you.
Okay.
According to WrestleNomics, shout out to Brandon Thurston. Quarter 1, 2, and 3. Quarter 1, 18+% for NXT, and quarter 2, 3+%. But here's the interesting part, right? This 2020 NXT 760,000, AEW Dynamite 618,000.
Dang.
Quarter 2, 627,000 for Dynamite, 678,000 for NXT, and then quarter 3, 584,000 to NXT 627,000. So it's very interesting.
NXT's kicking AEW butt in the ratings. Go ahead.
Kicking butts in the ratings, brother.
Yeah.
But is that without HBO Max? Because that, remember, the
I'm
thing
not
is,
going that far, Brandon. I just gave the numbers.
I'm asking a question because when that gets calm down. I'm asking a question. I can ask a question because remember they said their ratings have been spiking on HBO Max because of the streaming service, whereas though WWE was going down on Netflix because of its streaming.
I'm just going with the numbers they gave me on WrestleNomics.
Does the streaming make a difference? Because it's kind of like almost like it's prepaid. Does it make a difference? You know what I mean? Versus like viewership, like TV is measured in metrics, right? Metrics in advertisement versus like streaming services where it's like when Raw's on Netflix, there's no pressure. There's no pressure from the network. You just got to deal with Netflix if they're not happy. But if they're happy with the product, it's like, it's no big deal. But think about it. On TV, it was life or death. We got to be number one, you know, because it really depended on the money. Like the numbers really made a difference versus like, they didn't watch this week on Netflix. There's no pressure. Well, you know, as long as Netflix is happy with it, they're not tripping about, hey man, this week the ratings were down. What are we doing? You know, or like think about TV. Oh, Sweet Week's coming up. We got to do something. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I always wondered the separation between the two. You know what I mean? Like, what difference does them being on HBO Max make a difference? Does it help? Does it, you know?
It might make brand awareness. It might make a difference. I think was the thing that stands out to me when I look at these numbers is seeing that NXT is over 500. You know, over what is it, 500,000, over 500,000 on viewership. That's what I'm looking at. Over 500,000 on viewership. And it's been, you know, people on a network television show versus you know, I think again, it's still developmental. So I'm thinking it's going to be what the Rampage numbers was, the 300,000s. You know, so I'm looking at the people at CW probably like, oh yeah, it's a solid. I don't know what, I don't watch any of the other shows, so I don't know what this compares to. But I think it's still impressive that they're over 500,000 people. I mean, a quarter, you know what I mean, 500,000 people.
We'll see, man. I don't know. It's just, and Max is now HBO Max again. You know what I mean? So you remember they went back to their old name. So maybe some type of branding may help. But we're gonna wrap this up. Like I said, we went a little bit longer the show, but this is an action-packed Great American Wrestling weekend, right? So Saturday night's main event. Goldberg versus Gunther as the top draw. Like I said, we've got Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, and we have LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. Brian H. LA Knight props earlier. He was impressed with the pop that he got on Monday when he showed up eating popcorn and beat up Seth Rollins, which I thought was funny.
That's all it takes. I don't need him talking. Just go in there and hit him.
No, there you go.
BFT, but and then just do this. Got everybody saying.
I mean, that's what we pay to see. LA Knight, yeah. So what are we looking at realistically when we talk about Goldberg versus Gunther? Should our expectations be completely in the toilet? Now, when I mean in the toilet, I don't mean it disrespectfully. I'm saying, is this just a nostalgia trip, or do we think we're really going to have some fun with this match? Because on one hand, you have an aging Goldberg that is never, like I said, Eric Bischoff said it best. The legacy of Bill Goldberg is his intensity. Outside of that, that's not what you pay to see.
But
Like you said,
you see how intense he was on Monday with the car pulling up in this. First of all, that Chevy SS Chevelle was clean, but him coming out
car
there,
guy.
getting in his face, and it just seems so personal. Like he's tired of him running his mouth, and that's what I'm saying. Goldberg, you see the growth, right? He's not coming out there go, "Whoa." Nah, he's out there, and I think that's what's going to make this so much fun because I think Gunther is going to probably play with him a little bit, and Goldberg until he gets winded or whatever. I think that's when Goldberg is going to go at him. He's going to go at him tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a fun match. I'm excited for it.
Okay, so you think this is going to be fun? Like I said, we got a fun match with him and Bobby Lashley in the Middle East. So I don't know if that was in Jeddah or was in Saudi, but how about you, guy? How about you, brother guy? How you feeling? His eyes got big. His eyes got big.
You're not going to have me predicting something, and then on next Wednesday, I'll be sitting there saying I was completely wrong because at this point,
I'm not asking you to predict it. I'm saying, is this just because Saturday night's main event? It's safe. It ain't meant to be WrestleMania. Is it just something is Gunther gonna sell like Shawn Michaels versus Hogan at SummerSlam, or are we gonna get like, okay, we got a little bit of back and forth? Are they really gonna sell us that Goldberg might actually have a chance of beating Gunther? Is this for the championship? I didn't check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That if he wins, he said, "Well, we'll have to wait and see."
Does Goldberg?
Yeah, if this is the last match or not. Like that's the thing they dig.
One more run.
Right, and that's why I think this is going to be a nostalgia act carried by.
Did you just chuckle before you said that? He laughed. He tried to hold in his laugh before he said.
Because when I say nostalgia, because Gunther is the one. Since Bobby Lashley is gone, Gunther is somebody on the roster that can make Goldberg look good. Because Gunther has a way of making his opponent look like they're destroying him. They're doing something, and he can still carry the match because he can chop him and he can say, "Stay down. I'm going to pin you in a." He can talk so much trash, and then that boost of intensity come out, and then we get we get what Braun Breaker is doing, but it's Goldberg version. Let me hurry up and do something because
we got Goldberg this time.
Yeah, we got Goldberg. So I think it's going to be a holy, because it's network TV. People want to say, "Oh, let me tune in to see what Goldberg is going to do."
Goldberg is doing, yeah.
They've been flaunting around. Is this his last match? So of course, it's popping the ratings, but we're really going to be tuning in to see can he actually do it? Get a 50? How old is he? 54? 50-something-year-old Goldberg still got it against the ring general. If you notice, I don't know if it's my algorithm or what. There's been a lot of things popping up about Walter when he was bigger too. By the way,
what's that about?
Yeah. I don't know, but it's been popping up a lot recently. And I'm like, is this because everybody's searching for Goldberg and Gunther trying to figure out where did this man come from?
They might be trying to put Gunther back. He took a back seat to Jey Uso for a little bit and he's kind of reestablishing himself. I'm still convinced he's going to get screwed by Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns is going to make his triumphant return at some point. But
and I think because his stats went down too. Remember, it was 80% of the time he was champion. Now they said it's 70% of the time he's been champion in WWE.
There you go. But to me, that's what you said is kind of crucial of how he performs in the ring. To me, he has a lot of Ric Flair in him. He knows how to look strong, but he still knows how to sell. Like that's a skill. You just can't. It's because on one hand they'll say, "Hey man, you're a bigger guy. You can't do too much," but he doesn't look like he's not beatable in the ring. He's dominant, but he's not unstoppable. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's the difference between him and Lex Luger debuting and him and, guys it's like, all right, I'm gonna come out here, but I'm not gonna get beat.
Now, is this his biggest opponent as in size wise? Because, Gunther usually is the taller one. He usually overshadows his opponent. Because like if you think like when him and Ciampa was fighting, I thought Ciampa had a chance of winning the NXT UK championship.
Yeah, he was holding on to that one.
I was like, whoo. Because it looked like he had a chance, but that's because the ring general made you feel that way. Just like both times Ilyanov fought him.
Yeah.
When he was fighting
Pete got that tree down.
Mm-hmm. The person he beat for the title first was bigger than him. That was Damian Priest.
Yeah, that's
Priest 6'5", Gunther 6'4".
they're around the same size. And I know
Yeah.
Goldberg's not that big. Goldberg's what,
Oh yeah, that's right. It
6'3"?
was Damian Priest. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is so okay. This is his second one. Okay, got
But
it.
this is I
I totally forgot he beat him.
I hope he delivers. I want this match to be fun. I'm a Goldberg guy. I have no beef with Goldberg. I know a lot of people like he sucks. Yeah, listen. He's Goldberg. You know what we pay to see. As long as Goldberg can do what Goldberg does, I'm fine. I don't need him to give me this is be Goldberg. And I salute Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar restored the legend of Goldberg. It's because Brock Lesnar beat everybody, including Undertaker, and Goldberg squashed him in 10 seconds. I said, wow, he single-handedly restored that legacy that he lost. Because they cooled him off in WCW, as Kevin Nash says.
And they made DVDs about him.
There you go. Plenty of DVDs. So yeah, good brothers, man. We got through it. So there you have it. That's everything going on this weekend for the Great American Wrestling Weekend. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot. I think this is the first time I'm like, we openly all have said like, look, we'll probably be watching All In, see what goes on.
Well, I'm not watching it live.
You're not watching it live? What are you watching live?
Well, shout out to my boy Andrew. He's getting married this weekend. So
that's right. You'll be on the move.
Festivities, good reporter at the Washington Post, one of my mentees. So also shout out to the Eric and the Be More Pod Sports Talk show. I was there on Monday. Got a chance to talk about the wrestling realm, the infancy, my career, and then got a chance to talk some sports, including some of your peers. Realness, you do great work in the community, as and especially in the high school sports scene in Baltimore. So, I got to meet some of your new peers. Well, I should say, I got to newly meet some of your peers. So it was a good time.
Yeah, Shay, congratulations, brother. You did an excellent job out there. You, you represented our community well. You know what I mean? Most people don't always give us credit for being.
I'll tell you, the funny part was that when they learned that Money Mayweather was actually the persona was created in WWE.
See, that's why the wrestling. So I'm talking about, Brian Nate. You had to school these folks on where this stuff came from. Like Triple H and them mentored that man and showed him, listen, this is how. And guess what he started doing? He started printing money hand over fist. Because Pretty Boy Floyd wasn't cutting the mustard, but then he became Money Mayweather. Like, if I create this persona and people think this is real, and Floyd would do and say anything, and he became a legend. So, shout out to you being on the Be More Sports Pod, right?
Yeah, Be More Pod.
Sports Talk. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they got a whole situation, like a whole different. It's like a whole network over there. It was cool going in the studio. I was like, okay, shout out to them.
Absolutely. So yeah. So listen, brothers. We're wrapping this up. Is there anything else anybody's got to say? Is there any other announcements, brother guy? You got anything coming up going on that the people should know about?
Why would you say that?
I'm just saying you might have like a sportatorium belt something coming up. I don't know. I just figured I'd ask.
No, Hugh, nothing's coming up right now at this moment. Okay, no, Hugh. He swears every day. He's like, "What you got on order? What's coming up next?" So no, nothing as of yet.
Okay, so it sounds like to you that we can all sit back and enjoy this Great American Wrestling Weekend. Brian H., I just want to apologize to the fans. So if the phone starts blowing up and you get a lot of buzzing to your phone, it's the brothers most likely having conversations about wrestling. It's nothing new.
Look, my do not disturb button works very well. I catch it later. I know how to catch them on chats.
And you know what's crazy? Me and he was talking about that. We said we're so random. You can tell who's watching what at what time, because that's how the conversation will start. It's like he'll throw something crazy like, "Oh man, I can't believe it," or somebody be like, "Yep, called it," and we were like, "Wait a minute, what happened? I'm not home.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not watching. What did I miss?"
That's why you gotta have brothers in group text to keep you updated just in case you miss anything. So shout out to you, good brothers. Brian, brother guy, I have one more request. Can you hold up that WWF Big Eagle that you will be leaving with? I need to see something if you don't mind. Fans, we're having a live visual of a WWF Big Eagle that will be coming to my possession sooner rather than later. And it is going to be brought to you by Brother Guy. As we close out this show, this is the best way to celebrate Great American Wrestling Weekend. Look at that.
Okay.
There we go.
Which part do you want to see?
Just the center plate for the most part.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to see the lining of the WWF. See how the bottom part is up versus down? See, I'm just paying attention to the details. Okay. All right. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, just wanted to get a good look at it. So yeah, I'm working on an Attitude Era like project. So I just wanted to see some things.
Okay, I was wondering what was going on. Okay.
Yeah, so no, it seemed random, but it's okay. Listen, I feel like to me, that was the best way for me to celebrate Great American Wrestling Weekend. But like I said, for those who are listening still, please follow us on all our social media platforms at Wrestling Rim. Don't forget it is 2 W's. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Rim. Don't forget to follow Championship Culture at Championship Culture _ on Instagram. Remember, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/The Wrestling Room. That is where you can find Championship Culture well into season 4, episode 5. Who knows what episode 6 is going to be all about, but I know for sure I will be definitely tuning in. So we are going to reconvene after the Great American Wrestling Weekend and see if we're still can hang. Make sure we don't have pro wrestling hangover. And we will most likely be reviewing half the stuff that goes on. Who knows? Something might happen. Somebody might show up. I'm looking forward. This is going to be really, really fun. All critiques aside, as a wrestling fans, this is going to be really, really fun. I'm going to enjoy every last one of these shows, what I like, what I don't like. But that's part of the fun of it. And I encourage you all to do the same. So all you closeted wrestling fans, just don't do that. Just don't be ashamed. Celebrate pro wrestling. Celebrate being a fan. Don't change. But on that note, we have to get out of here. So we will catch you next week. You all be safe, and we are out. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.